And so maybe you could give us like just a general framework of like what happens when someone's in a psychedelic experience, which I think is the same thing as what's happening in a Kundalini experience. It's all kind of the same thing. What is happening there as viewed through like, the model?
Yeah, I've tried to learn about it. I've had some direct experience, but
Yeah.
also just trying to bring IFS as a map
Yeah.
and tried to figure out what is happening. And the best I can do is say that there's something about the medicine that either puts what I call manager parts to sleep or offline somehow. And whenever that happens, you access an enormous amount of self. And the different medicines do that in different forms. So with MDMA, you stay in your body and your heart's hugely open and you fall in love with your facilitator and everything's great. And but that's a big invitation to lots of parts that don't ordinarily have access to you to come in, what I call exiles. And when they come in, sometimes they just totally overwhelm and flood. And then that feels like a big spiritual emergency or something.
Right.
A big panic attack or a big... And too often, the practitioners trust the medicine, quote unquote, and don't do much. They're just kind of present and let it happen. Whereas if they were to actually just talk to this terrified part that came in and ask it to separate a little bit so the client could be with it rather than become it, they could actually do a big piece of healing. And so that's part of what I'm trying to bring is it's great for the facilitators to be lovingly, acceptingly present, but there are times where a little bit of direction really makes a difference. So.
Yeah, and that's, I think, exactly what happens in a Kundalini process or spiritual emergency is that you become, at the same time, this is why I love the language, because it's like suddenly the managers that have been managing your life for so long, the people don't even know because they think that it's their personality. And I found that among our members in our community, it's usually the people who have really clever managers who have the biggest breakdowns and are like, holding so much together that then there's like a moment of trauma or something where they just can't do it anymore. And so it's like the managers get blown out of the water and then the exiles are all like, we're here, but they don't have the manager. So it's just like everything's activated at once.
That's right. What we call managers, those spiritual traditions call the ego,
Right.
and see it as the enemy, really.
Right.
And so I hate this term, ego dissolution,
Yes, we were talking about
because
that.
it just scares the hell out of people,
Yeah.
totally unnecessarily.
I think we mentioned that on Zoom. I want to thank you because I never have to mention the word ego or ego dissolution ever again.
Good.
Let alone ego death.
Yes,
Yeah.
ego death.
Right.
So, the ego's very attached to being alive and helping.
Yeah.
And so you're basically, even going into the experience, giving the message to these managers that they're bad, they're the parasites or whatever, and that they're going to be outsourced.
Outsourced.
That's gentle, yeah.
Totally.
They're going to
Usurped.
be killed, yeah.
Yeah.
So you go in with that kind of fear,
Yeah.
and then all the flood of the exiles, which is exactly what the managers are trying to contain, start to come in,
Right.
and people freak out. Yeah.